And we're back. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Good local time, people. How are we doing?
Look what the cat dragged in, Grant. Look what the cat dragged in.
I know. It's usually just me, you, and Dan talking absolute shit for an extended period of time.
Now we brought the other Dan.
What we're talking about.
More Dans. That's what you need. More.
So we have Dan, the head architect, think tank, brainwave, Sunday all-day worker from Radix. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Back with
Thank
you guys.
for coming back. Yeah. How are you?
Dan, do you have an official title, Dan, or do you just make one up?
Just make one up. I've worn every single hat in this company. It's nice not to have a title for a change, and just mess around and stuff that gets my attention. So it's a nice place now. I can ignore emails if I want to. I could just stay in my cave and grind, which is what I do best. I was never any good at CEO really, or CTO, or all these other things. So I could do it, but definitely not the way it should have been done. So I do this best.
I prefer to be head down, just grinding away and getting left alone.
Yeah. Know your limitation.
Well, it's a funny one, isn't it? If you're going to start anything, it's one, you could be held back by the idea that you can't be asked dealing with all that kind of stuff, but you also need to do it at the same time while the project doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, at what point did you guys set up with the product first and then kind of expand into them roles, like you just out of necessity, or did you bring someone on early?
It all just kind of evolved, because like initially I was just hacking away at stuff, 10 years ago, just me in a home office, set up a forum, and then people just started to follow what I was doing. I didn't really have anything at the time. It was just a bunch of ideas, and how can you build a better blockchain, basically. So I was doing kind of everything, which was okay because it was fairly low key under the radar and stuff, because I really just wanted to try and solve problems and stuff, scalability issues, efficiency issues, whatever. But then it just kind of grew, like the community got larger just organically, and there was more things to do, and people wanted me to go these places and do these things. And it was like, what, I kind of need some help here now, because I'm spending more than 50% of my time talking to people and emailing people back. And what I really need to be doing is building. So then, Piers came on board as CEO, and then I took the CTO role, and that helped a little bit. But then that was kind of getting okay. I'm having to manage the team. I'm not that good at it. It's okay, but it could be better. It was more kind of okay. Let's get through all this CEO, CTO stuff as quickly as possible. do it as well as I can, and then get back to the development. So. It was. But then the company grew, it evolved, and I've kind of evolved over to this little dark corner where magic happens.
It must be a pain in the ass, because the thing is, with any kind of breakthrough emerging technology that has kind of likable figures at the top of it, if you're invested or if you use the product, that people also want you to be quite public facing and do these kind of talks and sit down with us two idiots. And I don't know what it is. I love it myself. I like listening to project founder interviews and all that kind of like emergent story of how it came around and things like that. But it must be a pain in the ass for you. You obviously just want to do something productive.
I do enjoy it, but my own kind of motivation gets in the way. So I mean, I've been basically off grid in terms of crypto and stuff since about April until only a couple of weeks ago, because I just really wanted to get what I was working on, all the Cassandra stuff and the R&D for Xi'an and all these things, get them to a point where if they're not wrapped up, they're close to being wrapped up before surfacing again and talking to people and tweeting and all this kind of stuff. In the past couple of weeks, it all just kind of came together where, I now have a stable Cassandra demo that people are now looking at, which is going crazy. I have all the R&D that I need to complete this current stage. All of that's done. I'm in paper writing mode, which will begin for peer review hopefully soon. So I'm at the point where I've got a little bit of breathing space, and if I'm not coding, I don't get anxiety about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I can enjoy myself a little bit for a little while, and and do podcasts and Twitter Spaces and interviews with guys like yourselves. And I do enjoy it, but it's just that on my shoulders, like, you got time for this.
Yeah, at the right time. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because you do get, I'm not going to mention any names, but there are a couple of layer one blockchains, if you can even call them that, because I don't actually think they work. But you do get some founders that go the complete opposite way as well and only want to be on YouTube and don't actually want to build anything.
Yeah, but then you're not
so there's definitely a happy medium.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Talking doesn't produce anything. So you can talk when you've produced something, in my opinion, right? If you haven't produced anything yet, then shut the hell up and keep your head down, right? Because otherwise you're just talking about promises which you will never get to because you're always busy talking. So yeah, I take the opposite approach. Build something, then go and talk about it, and that's the best way to do it as well, right? Because then there's something tangible that people can look at and go, yeah, he has been doing stuff. That's why he's been disappeared for 3 months. It's quite cool in our community as well, because if I've not been around for a month or like 6 weeks or something, people start speculating. Oh, I wonder what Dan's going to pop up with next. you just know how I work, right? It's like, right, he's not been around for a month, guys. We're going to get our minds blown real soon.
I love that, because 9 times out of 10, if that was anyone else and you're just going off grid to kind of get shit done. But I think that's part and parcel of the whole Radix community, isn't it? They know the long-term vision. They know the project inside out. It's one of those communities that when you tap it, which is why I was completely shitting myself releasing the article around it, because I was like, I can't pull the wool over this lot of size, because I know they know everything about it. So it was one of those. I was like, I better get this right, because they're gonna fucking rip me to shreds.
Yeah, they're a tough crowd.
But it's great because they know what you guys are up to, and if you are having to like batten down the hatches and go hide away to build shit, that's it's good that you get that reassurance from them that they know you're actually up to something that's productive. So
it's just a pattern that I have, and they understand the pattern now. So I think one, they love it when I'm not there, but 2, they also love it when I am there as well. So I think if I was around every day, they'd get a bit pissed off with me.
So what was that? Is that always been a process that you've done to get stuff shipped? Is it just hide away, get it done?
Yeah, I just shut down basically. So I close Telegram, I close Twitter, I close emails, everything. And I just keep lines of communication open with people that I need to, such as peers, for example. And then I just grind and keep my wife as happy as I can while I'm in that mindset. And then, come up for air after a while when I've got something that, I've achieved, or I'm at a good point where I can take a break for a week and just decompress a little. And then, it's just a cycle that I have. I just do my best work that way. Because so some days, maybe there's a piece of code that I don't like. I want to refactor it, or I've got a different idea, and so I want to change something to test that idea out. And none of this stuff's trivial, right? It's not like, oh, right, I'll just change this thing in 15 minutes and off we go. It's like I need to have multiple 18-hour coding sessions to do all this work while it's all fresh in my head, and I've got it all figured out how I'm going to build it and what stuff I need to move and what I need to implement and stuff. So going backwards and forwards, kind of task switching all the time, it's disastrous.
Doesn't help.
No, everything takes 5 times longer. So that's why I do it this way. I can just knuckle down, get it done, and basically just sleep. So come to the office, do a grind, go home, kiss the wife and the lad, go bed, get up, leave, come back. But it's most productive.
Yeah. So it's like sprinting as opposed to being trying to do it all at once. Yeah.
Full sprint. Yeah. Just turn off all distractions. So there's been occasions where I've kind of, I've done one of these grinds and then I've kind of come up for air, and it's like, wow, the world's different, you know. Different people are in power, or a war has started somewhere. It's like, I had no fucking idea. Like, wow, I feel like I've been in a coma for like 3 weeks.
So Dan, you said that you went off grid essentially in April.
Yeah.
Why? What happened April? What was the motivation behind that? Yeah.
It was partly because I had a lot of this task switching stuff happening with various things, not just work side, but some live stuff as well. You know, you still got to take care of your live stuff when you're in this space. So and it was just, there was just quite a lot of, you know, day-to-day stuff getting in the way and slowing me down quite a lot. So kind of got all that out of the way and made sure that everything was good for a few months so that I could just get my head down and just get to the point in the R&D for Xi'an where I had all the remaining kind of question marks. I had some other ideas of things I wanted to try to see if they were better or worse than the way I was currently doing them and all this kind of stuff. Get a solid Cassandra prototype network that, you know, could potentially run for extended periods of time so that we could have proper community tests and we could go and show that and build some awareness around, okay, you know, after we've got Olympia now, Babylon's coming soon. This is what the future may look like with Xi'an. Here's Cassandra with, you know, importing Twitter and streaming video and making transactions and all this stuff. And just get to that point where, you know, I've been trying to get there for nearly 2 years, right? I started the Flexathon, if anybody remembers that thing, 2 years ago this month, with just an idea of, okay, how would you build a Xi'an, right? You know, we've got Cerberus, we've got all these other bits of technology, but how would you actually build one, and what would it look like, and what challenges would the development team hit if they were going to build it right now? What things would they have to solve that were maybe peripheral to the main consensus mechanism and stuff? And so that Flexathon, it was like a hackathon over a 2-week vacation. So I took a holiday and worked, for God's sake, right? This is the kind of stuff that I do. And then that just really then turned into, you know what, let's just build this Xi'an prototype, solve these problems, answer these questions, and do it publicly, right? And so that's what the Cassandra network is. And doing R&D fairly public, and there's like a Telegram group where people follow what I'm up to, and they run tests with me and community tests, and we run the network and we try and break it, and inevitably at some point we do, and then I disappear for a couple of weeks and fix the problem or fix a bug or something. But you know, we're kind of at that point now where it's going to be possible to show this to a broader population of Luke. This is what kind of Web3 on Radix might look like.
Are you starting to see, like, running all these kind of tests and getting everything like culminating to a point where you want to get? Are you starting to see like the same kind of faces in the community that are really helping out and pushing ideas forward and running tests and even picking up you know, some of the tasks that you put out there? Because what I tend to find with projects that are like continuing developing this phase, it's you'll start seeing familiar faces from in the community that will just, it's like they don't have a job and they're just a full-time community member, and they'll do anything you ask.
It's been like that for years, right? I mean, there's probably 200 or 300 people in the community that they're always there, right? Wherever you look in the community, they're always there. And some of those people have been following the project and me for nigh on 10 years now, and they're still always there all the time. Hey, I need this, guys. I'll do it. But, what a surprise. There you are. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool to have that kind of support network, right? And they're very reactive as well. I can pop up and say, hey, I want to try this thing, or I need some help with this, or, you know, can somebody offer assistance here? And within seconds almost, there's a gaggle of people that are like, me. I'll help out. It's really good.
We were talking before we jumped on about the latest tweet that was put out, and we've kind of figured that someone from A16ZZ, however you want to pronounce it, talking about social media on chain and how some people think it's possible, some people think it's just kind of heads in the clouds kind of thing. But for people who are not kind of balls deep in the Radix community or ecosystem, what's your stance on this? I know you've been grinding away at something behind the scenes.
Yeah, so a bit of context, right? So when I kind of got started with the Xi'an prototype, it's now known as Cassandra. Cassandra, by the way, it's not the actual Apache database. A lot of people seem to get confused. Cassandra isn't that. There's a bit of a name clash, sure, but Cassandra is I think a Greek god or goddess or demigoddess that predicted that certain things, and nobody ever believed her, but they eventually always came true, which kind of mirrors what I've been saying in the crypto space for the past 10 years, right? These things are going to happen. These are things that I'm going to try and do, and everybody's always said, no, that's way too ambitious, dude. Come on, lower your bar a little bit. And then here we are now with a prototype network doing things that weren't possible apparently, and we've got Babylon coming and Xi'an coming that will do things that weren't possible apparently, but hey, here we are. So Cassandra is a very apt name for that reason. I'm not trying to steal users from Apache Cassandra by confusion or anything like that. But the whole social media thing that was one of the first kind of ideas I had for a test on the Cassandra network, because it's quite heavy, right? So like Twitter, for example, when you look at a tweet, it's quite complicated underneath the hood. What you see when you're using Twitter, it's all very streamlined and it's all very nice. But even Twitter's backend is quite complicated because it's doing multiple things, right? A tweet, you've got some text, it's associated with the user. People can like it, people can retweet it, people can reply to it, you can attach media to it. All these different things that this tweet can carry, right? All this different metadata and stuff. And when you look at that from a decentralized point of view, there's quite a lot of moving parts and there's quite a lot of complexity. And if you want to do it sharded, so you've got scalability, so you can have 1,000 tweets a second going through your network and it's not breaking a sweat, then the complexity gets even higher, because you've then got a piece of this tweet over here and a piece over there. The number of likes is in one place, the number of retweets is in another, the replies are spread all over the network, whatever, depending on what your sharding model looks like. So it's a simple user experience that, if my thinking was, if I ever get to the point where I can demonstrate this, it's a familiar user experience, so people won't be confused, but at the same time, it's also very technically challenging and it ticks all the boxes of the things that I need to go and solve or research or get answers to, right? And so if you look in that crypto space, and just like the Web3 space, being able to run something like Twitter on a blockchain, or a permissionless ledger at least, is seen as borderline impossible, especially from the point of view of all the media and the videos, the attachments, the images, the profile pictures, all that kind of stuff. So there are solutions out there. There's a Twitter clone on Ethereum, for example, right? And it's pretty good. But a lot of the stuff that it's doing, like a lot of all the content is pushed off to IPFS or Arweave. I'm not sure which one it lives on, and that's kind of the trick that they all do, right? So all of these Twitter clones that you see push all this data somewhere else. So it's not native to the network. And the issue with that, of course, is that if you push all of this stuff outside of your dominion of control, then if something goes wrong in IPFS, for example, you have no control over it within your network. If your network is just in consensus and then there's a failure in Arweave or IPFS or whatever secondary kind of storage network you're using, you've got zero control. You can't resolve it. If something goes wrong there, you just at the mercy of that network that it comes back up again. And then you've got complexity of the communication and all this kind of stuff. So I really wanted to have it native and see if it was possible to do, regardless of the point of, well, why on earth would you store all that data on chain, on Ledger? That's not the point. Like, the point is that is it possible to have extremely high throughput and extremely high data processing capability in a permissionless network? Yeah. And that's kind of what I wanted to achieve, and that's what Cassie can do. So right now it's out there in the wild, importing tweets and media and stuff as we do this interview, and then people are watching streaming videos on it on the Radflix app. People are making transactions, doing a lot of stuff that, as far as I'm aware, nothing else in this space can do in the same way, right? Apples to apples comparison, there's nothing even close to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I suppose that's the best, using something like a social media to actually showcase that throughput is probably the most tangible way for even someone who's not even in this space whatsoever to kind of get a grasp of, like, Jesus, this is actually really powerful. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of stuff, again, you can take it with a pinch of salt when you're seeing it like coming through with like on Ethereum and stuff like that, because we know it can't even handle peak bull mania with people buying shit coins and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it'll be
it's a good use case as well, because people know what it's doing, and if they if they're even just on the peripheral edges of the crypto space, they've probably seen comments about scalability and the conversation about we need a decentralized Twitter comes up all the time on Twitter. Somebody influential or a big account gets banned, and then there's a day of everyone saying, yeah, we need a decentralized Twitter. And then you've got all the kind of, the crypto Debbie Doubters that come along and say, yeah, it's not possible to do on anything. And then somebody sees Cassandra, it's like, hold on, I thought this wasn't possible. So either they're wrong or this demonstration is fake. And the demonstration that Cassandra does, it'd be more difficult to fake it than it would be to just do it correctly, right? Because I can reply to these historical tweets and they pop up in the feed and all this stuff. You would have to have a way to control very tightly what the users can and can't do in the demonstration in order to be able to fake it, right? But you could go there right now and like tweets and historical ones, current ones, post your own, link them to places, and they would be there. So very difficult to fake it. And so then it starts to raise the question of, okay, well, maybe this thing is possible to do after all, and this guy who's made this thing has just got there first.
What about messaging? Like with, I don't know, if we were to use, WhatsApp, WeChat, or something like that.
Like a Discord. How about a Radix Discord?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of other dApps that I want to get to building. But up until now, I've kind of just built ones that have given me some research value. So I've got Twitter, which is essentially, a kind of a chatbot, right? Essentially, yeah. So it's doing all the things that, say, a Discord clone would do, or a WeChat or whatever. All the things that Twitter is doing underneath the hood is all the same things that those dApps would do. So I haven't needed to build them because I'm getting what I need. But I do have a list of things that I would like to build to say, okay, Luke, so you've got Twitter over here, but then here's a dedicated messaging app, and here's a dedicated forum application, like a decentralized Reddit on there or something, right? And then decentralized DEXs and stuff, chatbots even, right? I've got a little prototype of a chatbot dApp, so you can send it a message and it'll send you a message back, and you can have a conversation with it and whatever. It's pointless, but from the point of view of a user, it's like, oh my god, this thing's got a chatbot on, and I can send it a message and it'll message me back, right? Or I can another cool idea. What I want to do is have a Cassandra instance with a Twitter account, so I can reply to it on Twitter, and then it will compose a reply, put it on the Cassandra ledger, and also tweet it to Twitter, so I can then go to the Cassandra ledger and see all the conversation in there as well. And just integrate things like that and stuff, and just show how you can mix Web 2 and Web 3 as well a little bit, and all these things. But there's only me doing this stuff, so it take a while to get through.
But doing that sort of stuff, particularly like the grand scale, like cloning Twitter or whatever have you, it's just to put feelers out there for like inspiration for anyone else who wants to go and actually build something kind of novel, if that makes sense. And I think that's the kind of benefit of what you're definitely doing. It's like, look, you've got a blank canvas. You don't have to be kind of concerned with the scalability issues. Just go and build something mental.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's also if somebody tells you what you're trying to do is impossible, don't listen to them, because they're probably wrong, right? Like just build it, and even if it does turn out to be impossible, you'll know why it's impossible, right? Not just, oh, I think it's impossible because my current knowledge set on what's current right now, right? But you go and ask any of these guys in the space why is it impossible? They won't have a solid reason, because it turns out it's not impossible. So they could never give you a solid reason why it's impossible. They just form this opinion based on their current knowledge that this thing is impossible. Just like people dead, a century and a half ago about fly, right? It's not possible. Why? Because it just isn't. Well, that's not really an answer, is it? It's just your opinion. So yeah, if anyone tells you it's impossible, screw them. Go build it anyway. And if you don't succeed, you'll know why it's impossible, and that alone is valuable, because then you can go and do conferences and explain to people in a technical way why this particular thing isn't possible. So just do it, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if you fail, you've learned something, and that alone is valuable. Knowledge is valuable. So do it anyway. And if you do manage to solve it, then you control the shit out of them forever. So it's just a win-win, right?
Dan, from a retail perspective, because I mean, obviously one of the advantages of where we are in the market at the moment is that there is the opportunity to build and to get all the kinks sorted out. But from a retail perspective, what is currently like present on Radix that makes it appealing from a retail perspective? Let's forget about us hardcore freaks, idiots, and the rest of it. But from a retail perspective, what makes Radix ultimately appealing and inviting from the outside looking in?
I think, yeah, there's a few key areas, right? So Babylon will be dropping next year, Q2. But there's been a lot of work put in around the edges of that, right, for this kind of purpose. So there's an updated wallet, which the user experience is so much better than, obviously I'm biased, right? But I try not to be biased, right? I try to keep an open mind. I don't want to be a maxi of any kind, even a Radix maxi, right? I just want the best solution to win. And what the wallet team have put together, Matt has done some incredible work. The wallet is probably one of the best user interfaces I've ever come across, because you can do things like, okay, I want to send some tokens from here to here and do this complex sequence of actions, and the wallet will tell you what the outcome is. So before you click send, the wallet will tell you, okay, this is what the expected outcome is for this thing, right? And so as a user, it's you kind of get a feel for what should happen before it happens. And so just making it easier for users, making it easier to manage their private keys and stuff, right? Identities versus wallets, because a wallet isn't really your identity as such, right? Like, you keep your driving license in your wallet, but your driving license is a form of identity, right? You don't, when someone says prove your age, you don't show them your wallet, do you? You have to take something out of it first and then show them that. It's like, look, honest, right? This wallet, I'm 18. So just all that kind of user experience is massively important, I think. Like for retail, they haven't got the time nor the inclination to want to learn this stuff, which has been a bugbear for a long time, right? It's like, I don't have to learn how the bank works to be able to put money in there. So why would anybody want to learn how crypto works in order to use crypto? They won't. It'll just put them off. People are busy, right? They've got lives, children, they're working long hours. They don't want to be messing around with crypto keys and trying to figure out what the hell is an elliptic curve at 9 p.m. at night after they put the kids to bed and they got to be up in the morning to go and go to work. So that's important, right? Is streamlining the whole user interface, the user process, making it more secure, making it more reliable. And then on the other side of that, you've got developers. Developers are important. So, you guys must have heard about the Scripto stuff that we're doing, right? We've got the Radix engine, we've got Scripto, which is an asset-based smart contract language. That might sound like gibberish, but it's actually important, because when you look at, let's say, Solidity and other smart contract languages, they don't have any internal concept about, well, what is a token, right? What does it mean for this token to go from one place to another, right? So, like, if I've got a £10 note in my pocket and then I give you that £10 note, I can't do anything with that £10 note anymore, right? But the way that other smart contract engines work, I can give you a virtual copy of that £10 note, and you can go and do something with it, and I can do something with it as well. And that's where all these security issues lead from, and all these hacks and stuff, because I have a copy of the £10 note, but from the outside looking in, they both look like the same thing. They're both legitimate £10 notes, right? So from the developer point of view, because your smart contract engine doesn't have any concept about what is a token, what is a £10 note, how should that £10 note behave, what can and can't be done to that £10 note under these various circumstances, right? The developer has to implement all of that, and the developer has to think about what these behaviors look like from the point of view of the code. But Scripto takes a lot of that away. So, because Scripto has this concept of, well, what is a token? What are the constraints around what I can do with a token? You've got vaults, you've got these buckets, and these all kind of just give a really intuitive way for a developer who maybe, isn't a wizard, right? You want the non-wizards. That's where you win. Is the guys that just load up the Scripto development environment, spend a few hours putting together some idea that they've had, and then they launch it into the wild, right? That's where real mass adoption comes from. And so the whole development environment is geared towards making it easier for developers, making it more secure, so that developers, it's more difficult for them to make the little mistakes that cause these hundreds of millions of dollars hacks, right? So if you've got that, and then you've got your good user experience, then those two can complement each other. And I think that's where you'll really start to see some mainstream adoption. Because at the moment, you literally have to be a wizard to be able to create a secure dApp, because the bar is just so high. I've looked at Solidity in the past, and even I sit there thinking, what the hell? Why is it doing that? What's going on? Jesus. And so if people like myself are sitting here scratching heads, we've been in this game for a long time, we understand this stuff inside out, upside down, and back to front, then what the hell chance is somebody who just has a business idea and is a programmer but just doesn't know this stuff, and like what chance are they going to have, right? They're trying to run a business and build a product, not learn Solidity or crypto. So I think those two things are paramount for proper mainstream adoption.
Yeah, good answer. We've been talking with nearly every project founder we get on. Maybe it's sometimes even before we actually hit record, but everyone's just of the same opinion, particularly in the EVM space. Everyone just goes with the flow of MetaMask. And I always say, it's like, if we're going to look back in 5 years, and I'm just going to think, what the hell were we playing at? Like, as if we had to physically go through that.
MetaMask is a great product for people like us, right? We know what it's doing. You click send, you know what gas is, and all this, all the terms that are in there that are very kind of crypto, but we know what it is, right? And it's fine. It's really good for us. It's a good product. It's made things a lot easier for us guys who are already in the gang, so to speak, right? But somebody from outside comes in and has a look at MetaMask, and it's like, what do these things mean? It's like, this is crazy. You know what? I'll just send it to an exchange and keep it there, and then the exchange gets hacked and they lose money, and I'm not touching that shit ever again.
I'll put it on Celsius, which a lot of people wanted to do.
Yeah,
because everyone wanted to participate in like high yields and like the whole DeFi summer sort of thing, but you also understand that the kind of people that were storing on Celsius were probably, they wanted a little bit of that, but they didn't want to take the risk of having to do self-custody and things like that. So that was the middle ground, and then look how that's panned out.
Yeah,
it's not very good.
So yeah,
The reality,
the user experience has got to improve. It's got to.
The reality of Celsius is that I think the majority of people that got caught with Celsius were actually retail, like pure retail. I mean, I know quite a few of them, like, hardworking folks, like you said, Dan, get up in the morning, go to work, get the kids, sort the kids, all that kind of stuff. Hey, I've got some ETH, I've got some BTC. Celsius is the obvious thing. And I mean, I even know like a really good mate of mine who really knows his way in the space. Does crypto, is a very good trader as well. Both stonks and crypto got caught at Celsius for a substantial amount of money. Yeah.
So I mean, like if us guys in the know that do this stuff every day can also get stung, then that's just even a bigger signal that things need to improve before you'll really get mass retail in here. Because if it can catch us out, and it shouldn't catch us out, and it still does. So that just tells you it's still incredibly complicated.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen. Obviously, we haven't. And this kind of goes without saying, but I don't think we'll appreciate the downstream effects of what that has on, the next kind of wave of new market participants or newer market participants, because that's enough to scald you for the rest of your life. Like if that was your hard-earned savings, and you can dollar up every which way. People aren't going to go back after something as catastrophic as that. Not to mention fucking Luna and UST.
Well,
those like
they may come back. They may come back, but you're looking 10 years down the road, right? When all their friends have been in for a few years and nothing bad has happened to them because their friends didn't get stung in Luna or Celsius or whatever else has happened in the past. They'll just sit on the sidelines for a long time until the confidence level is up. And they see that all their friends and family have been playing with this stuff for a couple of years and they haven't ended up getting stung by it. So they will come back eventually. But I mean, that's already a lot of people that are just going to sit on the sidelines and be like, hell no, I'm not going anywhere near that for at least a decade, mate. Come on.
Maybe it looks like
the bigger that pool will get, right? The bigger that pool gets, so then the less people you're going to have that are willing to come and play with this stuff. And I think we're also in a bit of a funny middle ground at the moment where, like a few years ago, it was all the developers, like the tech guys, made everything. Yes, so the tech stack, the user interface, and it was all just, it was typical tech user interfaces. They were horrific. Whereas now a lot of projects have got marketing teams and, kind of UI designers and stuff. But the tech isn't quite at the place where it can satisfy the needs that the UI designers have, right? So you kind of stuck in the middle at the moment where you've got rid of the tech guys that are making all the front ends and they're like shit, but then your UI guys are used to, these kind of fluid environments, from like centralized systems, let's say, right, whatever. But the features that they had over there, they don't have here yet because this technology is still emerging. So they're having to kind of cut corners or mitigate on ideas that they wanted to do, and so the UI still isn't quite where it needs to be not because the UI designers are bad, but the technology just can't support them yet.
Yeah, completely agree. So I don't think I've seen anything on this, or forgive me if you guys have kind of put stuff like this out into the system and I've just completely missed it. But obviously another quite topical point across the full industry is kind of like the whole privacy thing. Is there anywhere in the kind of tech stack or even at like an application layer level for like privacy to be built into Radix, or is it even a concern, or is it somewhere that you guys would like to go down or just completely avoid it? Full stop.
Yeah, it's something that I think about a lot. I have done for a long time, right? But I think from a technical point of view, at least, right, hard privacy is probably quite a bit lower down on the priority list from my point of view, right? Because if no one's using your technology, then what good is hard privacy, right? If it's not scalable enough, or if it's not programmable enough, flexible enough, or secure enough, then privacy doesn't really mean anything, right? Because if you can't satisfy all those other things so that you can be extremely successful and pull in mainstream users, then privacy just seems like I've got it, so woohoo to me kind of thing, right? I don't feel that it's mega important at this stage to have privacy, strong privacy in Radix, but maybe that changes. So I do keep my eye on, what's happening, what are new techniques, what are new technologies around privacy and stuff, and just acknowledge that those technologies are there, read upon them, get an understanding of what they're doing. But privacy wouldn't support our roadmap right now. So yeah, I mean, I think it will be very important in the future, but I think right now it's okay for it to have a bit of a backseat in terms of priorities. And if you really want privacy, then there are networks out there where you can go and get hard privacy right now if you need it for something. But yeah, I think it'll float to the top at some point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Dan, thoughts on Layer Zero and your relationship with the whole thing in terms of your ability to be cohesive in that network?
I understand the need for Layer Zero, but I think it's going to be ephemeral. And once you have networks that can scale, right? And obviously, more than just us are looking at these problems. But at some point, you're going to have networks that can carry large amounts of transactional volume. And so the need for Layer Zeros will reduce. The utility for Layer Zeros will reduce. And like Layer Zeros are a nightmare as well. You've got these bridges between all these different protocols. They're sending messages backwards and forwards. You've got different flavors of consensus where you might be sending a message from a deterministic consensus model that has immediate finality and safety to a probabilistic one that has probabilistic safety and no guarantee of finality ever. I mean, what happens if one of those networks has a problem, right? Either now or in the future with this message that you've sent. Securing value in that way, where you got these bridges, is really difficult. And we've seen recently, like hundreds of millions only in the past couple of months being drained out of kind of bridges and Layer Zero type protocols and stuff. And I don't think there's a need for them long term. I think there will be, some incumbent layer ones which can carry enough transactional throughput for them to be able to satisfy the use cases. And at that point, the need for Layer Zeros will disappear. Because there's a lot of argument around it'll be a multi-chain world, but you're just adding complexity. You're adding complexity from the point of view of the protocol developers, your application developers, right? Oh, I want this application, but I need to go and talk to that chain over there. So I've got to go through this Layer Zero, and I've got to build all that kind of logic and complexity into my application. And what happens if something goes wrong? I've got to build all this complexity into my application. And instead of it getting simpler for the developer, it just explodes in complexity, and you'll just see more issues. And so I don't think it'll be a multi-chain world in 10 years in the way that proponents of a multi-chain world think it will be. I think a lot of people think it'll be thousands of chains all talking to each other seamlessly, and it won't be like that. It's like the internet using 1,000 different protocols, and you have to use a different version of TCP/IP to go to various websites. It would be a nightmare for the developer. It'd be a nightmare for the user. Oh, sorry, you don't have Safari Super Nintendo version 85 installed on your phone. You can't go to Amazon right now. It's like, what? What's going on? It's like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because you've got two really conflicting, I suppose, thesis and ideologies at the minute. Because you've got something that looks akin to like an app chain world, like an app chain thesis, all plugged in, trying to be as composable as possible. which is probably akin to, a Cosmos, where protocols are going to go and build on their own specific blockchain. Then you've got the IBC around that, and then at the same time, you're also seeing two extremely overvalued L1s come onto the market that looks scarily like the architecture of what Radix have just built. So you've kind of got these conflicting kind of points of view and opinions and thesis around how that whole landscape will turn out. But I mean, I'm happy to see how it turns out because it'll be fun. But
me too. I'm happy to be proven wrong. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, I yield to it. Interestingly,
but then
Piers thinks it'll be a multi-chain world. So we have this conversation internally many times where we're both trying to convince each other that it was wrong, which is quite maybe I should put a wager on it and see where we end up. It just doesn't make sense to me that it will be that fragmented. Right? You would have fragmented liquidity. You would have fragmented applications. Interestingly, you mentioned composability, and that would be extremely difficult to do. Like imagine you're in a layer 2 up here, and then you need to go to a layer 2 somewhere else. So you've got to go from your layer 2 on, APC chain down to the main chain on APC chain, down to some layer 0 XYZ, and then up to layer 1 on, FGH, and then up to the layer 2 on FGH. And it's like, but the developer of the app has got to orchestrate all that. And if something screws up in the middle, he's got to unravel it all somehow. And because of the nature of you have these different protocols, you've got no atomicity. So you can atomicity either everything happens or nothing happens at the same time, right? So there's an example like I want to book a hotel and a flight, but I don't want to book them if one of them isn't available, right? So if the flight is available and the hotel is available, then everything goes through. If one or the other isn't available, then none of them get booked. But when you're thinking about layer 0s and the example I've just given and the layer 2s, that disappears, right? So you could end up with a flight but no hotel book. So then you've got to unravel the booking of the flight or the other way around. And you got to have complexity, and you adapt to do that. Oh shit, the flight's gone through but the hotel isn't. Okay, now I need to contact the airline to cancel the flight and get my money back, and you know how long that will take, right? And that will be important for users as well. That user experience of either everything happens or nothing happens, because the user isn't going to be like, hold on, why have I got a flight and no hotel? I've got to wait 3 days for my money to come back. What? I've got to wait 3 days to book my holiday again now. They won't accept it.
Are you? What kind of applications do you think will be first kind of spawned into like the Radix ecosystem? Do you think it will be similar to what we've seen on other networks, where it's primarily financial infrastructure, and then we get some kind of experimentation at the fringes with the likes of NFTs, your social apps and things like that? Or do you think there'll be more kind of that kind of, if there's a stopgap between Web 2 and Web 3, where stuff that's kind of more used in the average daily world? Do you think that which of the two do you think it'll tend to steer towards first?
You'll definitely get kind of, I don't want to say this in a respectful way, Radix community, you'll get copycat first, right? So you'll get Dexys, pools, all the kind of usual stuff that you see on all platforms, all the DeFi platforms. You'll get all that stuff first. And the reason is because it's well tested on other platforms. Everybody understands how it should work. Everybody understands how it shouldn't work. I don't want to say they're easy to build, but there's blueprints on how to build them, right? I want this pool to do this, so then I've got to build these things over here, and it'll do that. So you'll get all that kind of stuff first. All of your boring but necessary infrastructure will be first. And then you'll kind of get these. I think you'll get these kind of Frankenstein Web 2, Web 3 applications, right, where you have some Web 2 integration with the service, but then some of the back end is handled on your Web 3 Radix side, probably the payment stuff, right? So you'll have all the non-DeFi related stuff that probably still live in Web 2 land, doing something, maybe your user front end and all that kind of nice stuff. But then some of your back end, especially with regard to payments and transactions and settlements and stuff, that will move on ledger, on chain, and like you'll see this on any project that is new. You'll kind of see this flow of things, right? The copycat stuff first, and then you'll start to see some experimentation between external services coming internal, and then eventually you'll start to see some of the really cool, nice experiments once people have learned what the network can do. What are its strengths, what are its weaknesses, where are its quirks, right? What breaks, what doesn't break, what does the language look like? Once people got some experience and some confidence building these more simpler, well-known applications, then you'll start to see some experimentation, I think. So, a couple of years' time, you'll be seeing hopefully really interesting new ideas for applications, right? But you always find it. Common ideas, the common stuff is first, even with new technology. Okay, so we've got this new technology that can do all these great things, but let's just take this old dinosaur thing over here and put it on here and see what improves, because I know how that works. I know how that should work.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
When do you expect this to happen? I mean, I know that you've probably had this question asked more than any other question, but we have to ask it as well.
Sure. So with I actually, before that, I'm just going to say I'm been frequently blown away by the ingenuity that's been shown in our community, right? Because we've got Olympia out there right now, which basically just does transactions, vanilla transactions. That's essentially all it can do. But there's been NFT projects built on there. There's been kind of exchanges built on there. There's betting platforms and all this really cool, interesting stuff that's been built on it. And sure, a portion of those applications are centralized to some degree, right? But the fact that they've been able to integrate those with Olympia, it's like, wow, how the hell, guys? You guys have got some ingenuity between you all. So I just want to get that out of the way because it does impress me what the community does. I think this flow will start with Babylon next year. So you will then start to see all the properly decentralized versions of DEXs and pools and betting platforms and all the stuff that is currently kind of somewhat hackathon together for Olympia. You'll start to see all of that become true decentralized permissionless on Babylon. And then, you'll see all your kind of run-of-the-mill dApps over maybe the next 6 to 8 months after that. Then around a year after Babylon, I would imagine you would start to see some integration between Web 2 and Web 3, maybe. Some of the Web 2 stuff moving onto the Web 3 backend. And then maybe 12, 24 months after Babylon release, you'll start to see some of the really cool, like, things we haven't seen before, applications. Like maybe have an element of social, an element of DeFi, an element of something that no one's thought of yet. I think that's probably when you'll start to see it.
And then from a in terms of funding the whole thing, are you guys going to do like more rounds of funding? How are you guys kind of like supporting yourselves at the moment and driving this engine? I mean, that's obviously probably one of the most important things is to know that you've got this runway. How is that playing out for you guys, and what's happening on that front?
Yeah, we've got a decently sized treasury. Essentially, we're good to get to Xi'an and beyond on what we have right now. So funding isn't something that I'm thankfully lying awake at night worrying about anymore, and has been that way for a while, which is a nice place to be in. If we had to have another funding round, like a Series B or something, I'm sure we'd have no problem to raise any funds that we needed, either via equity or maybe token sales or something. So I'm not worried about being able to hit the finish line at all.
I think people would be queuing up to throw money at you, to be honest.
Well, that's the reason why I asked it, right? Is because I know from our community we'd have a lot of interested participants. Obviously, you've got your community. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I was interviewed the other day and I was asked, what's the project that you see the most potential on? And I answered Radix. It was very simple, and it's not like I've I'm not like heavily involved in the community. I'm by no means, by any stretch of the imagination, am I anywhere near some of your community members. But what you guys are making makes sense. It's very obviously going to work, and it's just a question of, that's why I keep on asking when. Come, bring it on. We want it.
Yeah,
because we definitely
we're
see
moving as fast as we can. We're like the fastest, slowest project in this space, right? We build
you are, and
we build tons of cool shit, but we do it slowly and carefully.
But that's the thing, Dan. It's kind of like, I want to kind of like, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, and I know why, because good things take time, but at the same time, it's a dangerous space to be in, because you almost have to revitalize that fire. You've got to restoke it when you guys are ready to do it. I don't think you'll have a problem, but the risk is always there, where you don't want to get left behind. But as long as your tech is current, which I'm sure it is, and all that stuff's on point, you guys should be fine. But just don't take too long, please, sir.
Yeah, I think the thing that we're trying to do is like a leap, right? So you see a lot of projects that get launched, good projects headed up by good people, but they've identified, maybe one or two problems, and they've fixed those problems really well, but haven't addressed any of the other 100 problems that are holding crypto back, right? So you just get this flurry of projects that are solving this particular problem or these particular problems, and they do it very well, but it's not the full suite, right? So it's not a leap, it's just it's a step. And the problem with a step is, if everybody else is making steps too, then you get caught up in the noise, right? And so it becomes very hard to distinguish your product. What is its unique selling point? Why is this the one that you should put your time and attention into versus that one over there that solves a different problem but still has the majority of similar capabilities? And I don't want to be a step. I've always had that mentality of, like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it so that people's minds are absolutely truly blown, and it's like, it looks indistinguishable from magic almost, right? It's like, how the F are these guys doing this? And that's a leap, right? Bitcoin was a leap. Ethereum was a leap. And I don't feel like we've had a leap since then. We've just had these steps of, kind of micro problems being solved everywhere. And I mean that, like, respectfully, but we need a leap. But if you have a leap, then I don't think you'll ever have a problem of restoking that fire, as you put it, because you can pop up after 3 months and go, guys, check this out, and everyone's like, what the hell?
I think the beauty of your roadmap, though, it's like, forgive me if I get this completely wrong, but it feels like it's been designed with kind of future-proof built in. Like, it seems like a lot of other of your large players in the L1 space, they say that they want to get there eventually, but if anything's to go by based on how you see how kind of slow they've moved in the past, it's just, I don't think if they will ever get there, like, given the complexity and where you need to get to, particularly with the sharding space hasn't even started becoming its own narrative yet, and I don't think people realize the power of it. And then you've got to kind of factor in the composability across shard, and a lot of people's other L1's roadmaps that have sharding built in, they haven't even. It's not that they haven't thought about that far ahead. It's just, from digging into Radix and doing like the deep dive on it, it was extremely future-proof, protected from that regard. And that's obviously what, it's not as if you're moving slow. It's like moving in the right direction, and those kind of big things do take time.
Yeah, and like, stage the rollouts as well, so that you're not trying to boil the ocean in one go, right? You've got to do it in stages. Like, every complex system starts from a simple one. If you just try and build a complex system immediately, you'll just run into issues time and time again, right? And you can't build this stuff fast either, right? It's like, people always say, "Oh, aren't you worried about XYZ with with $100 million of research. And it's like, Luke, just the demonstration that I've built over the past 2 years by myself blows, from what I can see, everything else out there out the water, right? Projects with hundreds of millions of dollars of funding and hundreds of people, and there's nothing tangible that I can see that can compete with what I've been building, right? So money and manpower doesn't always win the race. You need the idea. You need to have the idea of, I need to build this, and how am I going to build it? Oh yeah, Radix, you've missed the boat. It's like, well, if somebody beats us to the punch, then good on them. It's my opinion, but I don't think anybody will. The technology that we have is on point. It's more about execution from this stage, and can we screw the execution up? Sure. All I really care about is that if we fail, somebody else doesn't, because this opportunity in crypto, this cryptocurrency decentralized permissionless opportunity it's greater than any one person or any one project. And we won't get this opportunity again. So we shouldn't take pleasure in some other project failing because we don't like them, right? Because that's a set of minds that are smart, that are no longer looking to solve this problem because they're not in the space anymore. Would I like it for Radix to be the one that presents the solution that is adopted? Of course I would. But at the same time, if it's not us, then whoever does do that, I will champion them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You do see a lot of kind of back and forth and a lot of tribalism between camps at times,
Yeah,
and it's just like,
I hate that tribalism stuff. It's like, really, it's like you don't see people squabbling online because one of them banks with fucking Bank of America and another one banks with Barclays, right? You don't, yeah. My bank's better than your bank. You don't. My bank's got more features than yours. I get travel insurance from my bank. What do you get? It's like, why? Like, why do we have that in crypto, but not in other areas of finance? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, make the best product win, right? Like, competition is good.
Yeah, it is a very strange one. I think there's some really deep philosophical and religious connotations to why that is in crypto,
and
the lack
of
that in some people's lives. That's a conversation that could get unpacked for several hours. I think that one.
Yeah, I'm sure it could. Yeah.
So Dan, you still in the basement? You still in hiding? You still busy with stuff? No, you've just come out. That's right. That's why we got you in. And that's why we got you online.
You caught me as
okay. So you're back now.
What's happened in the world?
So you're back. You're figuring out what's happening in the world. We had a brief discussion around, where Twitter's going and the rest of it. That's going to be an interesting experiment all on its own now with the head honcho in charge. And what's next for you now in terms of rolling this out now? So you just walk us through your milestones for the next 6 months.
So the main milestone from an R&D point of view, which is where I live, is to wrap up the Cassandra papers, get them published, get them peer reviewed, because we've got the Cerberus paper that is undergoing peer review right now, and Cassandra builds a lot on what's in the Cerberus paper, but there's also some changes and some differences and some new stuff, which may or may not be useful to Xi'an. This is the flexibility when you're building R&D, right? You can have crazy ideas. Say, well, what if? So it does a lot of novel things in there. It's the consensus mechanism is, as far as I'm aware, the first true hybrid between deterministic and probabilistic. We don't need to get into what that is, but it's a good thing, right? It kind of gives you the best of both worlds. So it gives you the liveness of Bitcoin with the safety of, say, Cosmos, and that's important for a number of reasons. I mean, we can go there if you want to go there, but I mean, I'll just give you the dump of my milestones over the next few months first. So Cassandra builds kind of provides a blueprint for Xi'an, but also has a lot of other interesting stuff in it as well. Stuff that's novel enough that I think it deserves a paper of its own to get that peer reviewed. That's probably my main milestone actually for the next few months. And then kind of secondary to that is, tweaking the demos on Cassandra, raise awareness of Radix, using the Cassandra demo. This is where we want to be, this is where we want to get to, hopefully it gets you excited, etc., etc. And just kind of push on in terms of the awareness, right? We've got Babylon coming as well, so if Cassandra can also bring some attention to Babylon that's dropping next year, then that's also a really good use of time too. So you'll probably see me around a lot more for the next few months, because writing papers is difficult, and I need air more often because I'm not very good at writing papers. It's a shame I can't write papers in code and then just publish them.
You can just build an AI to make it for you.
I could, yeah, maybe. See you.
Don't get him started. Yeah, there he goes. He's gone again to write AI, to write papers.
That's it. Yeah, paper AI.
Cool.
But yeah, when the time comes, sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead, Grant. It's a bit of lag that was coming through there from your side, I think.
Oh, right. So yeah, I know. I was just saying when the time comes and the paper is out and everything, we'll try and break it down into layman's speak for everyone. So
yeah, that'd be
so
good.
I'm pretty sure
yeah,
that'll start getting extremely technical.
But
yeah,
actually, I'm actually working on a presentation for the Cassandra stuff and the consensus mechanism that Cassandra has, which kind of builds on top of Cerberus, on how you would take the Bitcoin blockchain and over a number of steps you would add certain things and take certain things away, and you end up with Cassandra consensus essentially. And it's very ELI 5 as well. So if you wanted, you could be my guinea pig for that when I finished it. I can run you through it, and you can let me know if it makes sense or if it's still too high level. Because I'll look at it and I think, well,
absolutely,
I can't really critique this because I understand it inside and out. So me thinking this is high level enough doesn't mean anything because I already understand it.
Well, you know what the answer.
Yeah, it's a problem we see with a lot of. The answer to that. Well,
yeah, the answer to that is please do. Absolutely.
Right, yeah, sure.
Sorry, there's a bit of lag coming through from Grant, that's why. So unless it's me. So that's why we kind of like getting
I'm getting a laggy Grant as well. So
yeah. Dan, thank you so much for joining us.
No worries.
I think we'll be seeing you again. Definitely.
For sure. Hopefully I didn't shill what I'm doing too much because I'm just excited about it, and sometimes it can come across as a bit shilly, and it really isn't. It's just
no, I think
people want to hear about what I've been working on for 6 months. Let's tell them everything immediately.
I didn't want us to necessarily get too into the technical side of it because then we'll end up losing people, and you get kind of like that glazed look, particularly from me. I know that you and Grant would have been really happy to have that discussion, but I wanted to just keep it really simple in terms of just, where have you been? What are you up to? What's happening, and where to next, which is obviously what we've done this morning.
Cool. If you guys are happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy. I don't know. Grant, I'm sure would have probably loved to have gone into the depths of it all. But we can do that another time once you've got those papers out, and we've got that perspective as well for our community, in terms of presenting it to them.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, but thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
No worries. Always a pleasure, guys.